to Sugar Coated. I'm your host, Adrienne Garland, the CEO and founder of She Leads Media. For far too long, women have been conditioned to sugarcoat their words, their actions, and the way they show up in the world, and to conform to certain cultural norms and ideals. This is inherently designed to keep those who are outside of the norm from gaining power, prestige, wealth, and influence, preventing more women from being recognized and respected as the powerful leaders that we truly are. Join me each week as we dive into raw conversations with remarkable, uncompromising, and inspirational women that will encourage you to strip away your sugarcoating and move boldly in the direction of your magnificent dreams. Hi everyone, this is Adrienne Garland and welcome to Sugar Coated. I am so excited to welcome my guest today. Her name is Tonya McCornell and she is the founder of the Mom Film Festival, or Mom Film Fest. Tonya, welcome to Sugar Coated. I am beyond excited to talk to you, especially because here we are in Women's History Month. Women's International Day was just the other day, and everything that you are doing is to promote and uplift women and moms. And I just would love to hear all about you and the Mom Film Fest.
Hi, Adrienne. Thank you for having me. I am excited to be here and to chat with you some more about the festival and everything we have going on.
Awesome. So I am very excited because one of the things that I sort of see come through in the work that you've done and the films that you've made, you're the founder of the fest. You also are a director. You produce your own films, which is so impressive. I would love to learn, how that happens and how you got into that. But I noticed that there were so many themes that really were about, mental health. And I think that just this pandemic has taken such a toll on so many people, just in general. And then when you think about the women that the pandemic has taken a toll on, moms especially, and I just can't think of, a better mission than to get moms back on set, which is your mission. Can you talk a little bit about how you created the Mom Film Fest and why?
Sure. So I am the founder of Mom Film Fest. I also run the Moms Network for New York Women in Film and Television, known as NYWIFT. And I've been doing this work since about 2017. So I have access to an amazing community of moms who are filmmakers. And what happened was I applied for a grant for an organization. It was for women over 40. So I claimed it. I was like, universe, this is mine. Lord, give it to me. And it opened 10 a.m. on a Monday. It was supposed to close 10 a.m. that following Wednesday. So I got all of my materials together. This was the first time I was ever early for something, or that's what I considered myself. I had gotten the kid ready. I figured 12:30 after her lunch, I'm going to review my materials and submit. And I went to submit my application and it said, the link you were looking for has expired. Oh, so I was like, this must be a mistake. I'm reaching out to the organization. And as I'm reaching out to them on their website, I see it says, due to an overwhelming demand, we had to shut down, receiving more submissions. Yeah. And I got really bummed at that point because I said, I really, I had these gigs lined up. Everything was looking great. I had money coming in. So I really could have benefited from this grant. And then to not even be able to apply for it, that was a huge hit to my system. And so I moped for about 2 hours. And then I said, what can I do that will help uplift and celebrate moms right now? Because we are in such a weird space. This was right after we first all went into lockdown in New York. And I was like, I have this community. I've always wanted to have an awards ceremony of some sort where we have a luncheon and we all were there and we're watching our films, and maybe the kids who are old enough can give each other, the moms, the awards. And I said, why don't we do some sort of an online event. And then I realized I wanted to do an online film festival. I would put some feelers out. We did a submission period of only 4 weeks because I didn't want to deal with early bird and late and all of that. I just wanted to see if people would be interested.
Right.
And they were. And I got
Amazing.
some really beautiful films. There were submissions from across the globe, from Nigeria, from the UK, from Spain, and all of these films made by moms and surrounding really important themes. You know, some of them covered police brutality. The winning short film was a mother on a journey to find out what happened, why her son committed suicide. We had films about immigration rights, and there was a group of minorities living in Trump country and how that was affecting them. That was a comedy series. So it really ran the gamut. There were so many different themes that covered, and some of them were about motherhood and some of them weren't. And I thought that was just a really beautiful thing. And I'm so proud of what we were able to do. And now to be in our second year, of course, we've expanded and we're doing more. And we're just excited to continue to build the community.
That is absolutely amazing. Just from an entrepreneurial perspective, seeing an opportunity and being able to put something out there into the market to get feedback, and then having that feedback be so overwhelmingly positive and also global in nature, you must really have a very strong network in order to get the word out like that. And I just think that that's so impressive. And I mean, I'm like so, emotional right now. Just from those themes, they really, hit home, and it couldn't have been a better time, I think, for you to put this festival together.
Agreed.
And to sort of like welcome moms, especially. And I love that, that it is focused on, moms who are making films. It's not just women, because there is a certain, level of responsibility, and also just mental responsibility when you have children. It's not just about you are constantly thinking about your child and what they're thinking, what they're doing, how they're acting. I mean, it fills up a lot of space in your brain.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And the pandemic has just amplified that. And, mental health is just such a huge issue right now. And I just really applaud everything that you're doing. So here you are in the second year of the Mom Film Fest. And, I definitely want to mention, I saw on the website that the submissions are open now, or they're opening in March. Is that the case?
Submissions are open. Early bird submissions are open. It's only a $10 submission fee. It was very important to me that we kept these fees low because I myself am a filmmaker and I enjoy entering film festivals, but it gets pretty costly. And
Sure.
I am a single mom, so I figured I would love to be able to do this and be able to make sure it is affordable to everyone. And even though we're focusing on moms, it is open to anyone to submit. If you look at the different categories, so anyone can enter for best short film as long as a mom was in a leadership position on that film. The only categories where it would have to be the mother herself is for best cinematographer or best director. But we also have a best mom themed, which last year there were a lot of men who submitted to that category. And the important thing was that the theme of the film surrounded motherhood. So it was a really beautiful way to make sure we are focusing on motherhood itself, because as you were saying, it's very challenging to be a mom, and we have to be concerned about ourselves and then also our children. And, it always baffles me when moms are looked at as less than, or, we're incapable, when we are making sure we are taken care of. We have to take care of our children, their schedules, their schooling. If you're a mom and you have children in different grades and you're doing remote learning, I commend you all. I have one child. It is hard enough. So
Yeah.
when you think about the moms who have all of these different children that they're caring for and the personalities and the things that they have to manage, we need to give those moms respect because they
Yep.
deserve it.
Absolutely. You could not have said that any better. And I'm even thinking to myself, my children are older, but even so, just, being home, they're in, high school and early college. But, it's even things like, what can I eat? And, it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm going to eat. Like, what do you mean, what can I eat? Like, it's, oh my goodness. It's a
But
little challenging.
and I when the pandemic first hit, I think for a lot of us, especially as moms, the one of the most challenging things for me was that I used to take her to school early so that she could eat breakfast there. She would have lunch and then she would come home and I would be responsible for dinner. So when we
Yep.
had to now do all 3 meals and she's 11, so she's getting to the point where she's eating everything. So there were times when she would want a second lunch
Yeah.
and I was like, "Excuse me? Like, where is this coming from?" That was a really hard adjustment for me, and I'm one of those moms, I love that child to pieces, but I like to work. I like my
Yeah.
time to myself. Like, I have no shame in wanting to go and be on set and creating, So
Yeah.
that was a really hard adjustment for me was being in the house and the 24/7 care for the kid, and we're now the cook, the nurse, the teacher. Oh, teachers go to
Oh,
school for
it's too
years
much.
to learn how to teach children, but we were expected to just pick up and know all of these different, I don't know, subject matter, and it was challenging.
It's heavy. It's really heavy, and it's a big burden, and not that we want to give away that responsibility to anybody, but it's difficult on so many different levels. And I'm like you too. I like to be independent and create in my own way, like from a business perspective, and have time to think and everything. And when you're constantly doing these caretaking things, even though in so many ways you love to do it, you of course want to be taking care of your kids. At the same time, it takes up so much mental and emotional energy that there's nothing left. And then there's like shame around that too. Like, I'm not doing enough. I'm not productive. What happened to me?
Yes.
And, it's sort of like we were forced into the situation where we had to like choose. It's like, choose your identity. Are you a mom and caretaker, or are you, going out of the home and turning that responsibility over to somebody else? Because it seemed that, and I think all the statistics about all the women that dropped out of the workforce or got laid off or whatever, it seems that you can't have both, and that just plain old sucks.
It does. And that is a really big reason why I'm doing this work, because I have encountered women from the younger generations who feel like they need to choose. And we have to keep in mind there are plenty of women in our industry who are out there doing the work. They are filming and they're pursuing their dreams and they're raising their children, but we need more visibility. The issue
Yeah.
that I encounter is that I do have a lot of women who are mothering in the shadows. And that is one of the saddest things to me, to not be able to vocally be out and proud as a mom, where it's something that you feel you need to hide because you know that we experience these prejudices as moms. We're seen as a
Yep.
liability, or you're not going to be able to complete the job, or the kid will get in the way somewhere. So I understand why women will keep that secret, but it shouldn't be
Yeah.
that way. It should be where we're all out here. Without moms, nobody would exist. I think somehow we've forgotten that.
Exactly. Like, literally.
We've forgotten that somewhere. And I keep saying we can really come together and have this power as moms, because we're good. As soon as they start learning how to grow babies in the machines, that's when we're screwed. But for
Yeah.
now, we should really come together and make this happen.
You are so right. And gosh, you're so right about all of this. And, it's something that we're going to have to figure out too, especially as we're hopefully, I mean, I don't know, every day I see something different, but, hopefully as we come out of this pandemic, like this redefinition of, what is being a mother, like what does that mean? And making sure that it's not just, either or
Hmm.
binary, that I'm a mother and, right?
Absolutely.
That we have multiple identities and that is something that we can be successful in our careers and as a mother, and that we don't have to be mothering in the shadows. I really love that phrase. That's a great title for a film. It really
Listen,
is.
Adrienne, if anybody's title is going to be my title.
You need to do that immediately because it's so good. I like wrote it down. I'm like, this is a good movie that I'm going to watch. But yeah, like, so Tonya, how did you get into just the world of film? Like, take us back to, how you sort of moved through this whole experience so that you're here where you
Oh,
are.
wow. Okay. So really, really quick backstory. I wanted to do this since I was in high school. And there was a program, like a BOCES program. Long Island folks will know what this is, but BOCES is a vocational school, and they had a film and TV program. And I really wanted to do that, but I thought I was too cool because I was a cheerleader and I
Of
didn't want
course.
to have to miss cheerleading
Yes.
practice.
Yep. And go on that
Yep.
BOCES
So I
bus.
didn't want to take the bus and miss half of the day because I would miss practice after school. So I didn't end up doing that. And then I had my father who was like, what are you going to do? And is that industry really something that will be lucrative? So I didn't end up doing it. And years later, I became a makeup artist. And
Hmm.
that's how I ended up going into film. I would work with these really young all male teams who would have us there until 2 o'clock in the morning because, hey, nobody has anything to do. We all want to be on set with you making your movie. And they would pull in the actors. Maybe there wasn't an actor who was needed until the evening, but for some reason they're there with us at 8 a.m. because, again, they thought everybody just wanted to hang out on their sets. But what ended up
Hmm.
happening was I was there to do the makeup, but I ended up producing, and I would create schedules for them and tell them, how we can map this out and the best way that it would work so that you aren't having people here for 20 hours. We did do a 20-hour
Oh my
day on set. It was quite interesting. But then
God.
I got tired of telling other people's stories. I have my own stories that I want to share. And
Yep.
they usually surround some sort of a social issue. I just feel like if I have an opportunity to make a film, I want it to represent a story that has a message of some sort. I always have Black women as the leads in my film. Representation is very important. I have an 11-year-old daughter. I need her to see women both in front of and behind the camera. So she sees that on my sets. There are always women running the show.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I was just like, I feel like film is a really great medium to help create dialogues that surround some uncomfortable issues. One of my films is about police brutality. The other one, as you said, is about mental health. It's about a mom battling depression, and that was based on some of my own personal experiences. After my father passed away, things got very dark for me.
Mm.
And I remember I was sitting with my daughter and she said something that I can't say because it'll give the film away, but it creeped me out. And
Mm.
I was
Yeah.
like, is she seeing spirits? Is something happening here? And I used that as
Mm.
the premise for the film. So it was pretty cool.
Wow. I mean, isn't it so funny? And why don't we trust ourselves? Like in high school, you wanted to do
Mm-hmm.
this, and and your journey, your path, everything else that you've done, and it led right back to film.
It did. And then when I came back, I said, I am so many years behind now because I should have been doing this 20 years ago. But,
No.
it always works out the way that it's supposed to. And I think
Yes.
the timing ended up being perfect. So I have no complaints. And I got to really experience life So I
Yes,
think it's fantastic, all these programs that we have for the younger and fresh out of school generation of filmmakers, but sometimes we have to pay attention to the people who have these experiences to share. And new doesn't mean young. A new voice is a new voice. It's a voice that you haven't heard before. They could be 50 or 60. For my festival,
I
the
love
first
that.
year, our youngest filmmaker was 24 and the oldest filmmaker was 72. Like moms are
Oh, that's
really
so
right.
awesome.
Moms run
Yeah.
every demographic, and I think people don't really, they're not aware of that. It's very interesting when you're looking at the dynamic of the filmmakers that we have and the filmmakers that we see.
Well, I think there's such a, just this bright spotlight on, the young, new, fresh
Hmm.
millennials, all of it. And I'm not taking anything away from them. Everybody has something to contribute. But the fact that oftentimes in our society, we, you know, don't pay attention to people who are older is tragic
Yep.
because we have lived life and we've seen things and there are incredible stories to tell. But if we feel like, well, why do people really care about what I have to say? Then those stories end up going away, never being told. And that is, it's sad. It's sad. And I do think that your journey and the fact that you lived life and there are stories that you're now able to tell. So you are now able to tell stories that you would not have been able to tell when you had just gotten out of high school, right?
Exactly.
So you're 100% spot on. There is the right time for everything, and you did this now because this is when you were supposed to do it. So my question, because this is so interesting, and so many people that are listening into the show have sort of gone from one career that was like the promise, right? It's like the question that your dad asked you, like, what are you going to do? What, what are you going to do that's going to be lucrative? I mean, I think we all were asked that question. And so we ended up answering it and making decisions based on that question rather than what impact do you want to make in this world, what do you want to be. I hope that the generations now and the students now that are coming out of college are being asked other questions, because so many of the people that listen into the show, we followed the path,
Hmm.
and the promise, because the promise was financial stability, it was success, it was corporate ladder bullcrap, that did end up being meaningless. And so many of the women find themselves at this stage of their career or their life where they're like, uh-oh, this isn't this isn't what was promised. Like, I'm smart, I'm accomplished, I've done all of this stuff, but it doesn't feed my soul. What the hell do I do
Right.
now? Right? It's too late. How am I ever going to learn? So I think what would be really amazing is to hear, like, how did you actually like get into this? I mean, to me, making a film is so scary because I think to myself, well, that's hundreds of thousands of dollars that you need in order to make a film. Like, I wouldn't even know the first thing about doing it. So how would one even create a film?
Oh, that's a really great question. I do have to say that I think a lot of us have degrees that we are not using. And I
Yes.
do think that to pressure us, when we're 17 or 18 to decide what it is that we want to do with the rest of our lives is insane. So we need to take the time and figure out where we want to fall into career and life in general. But to make a film, what I did was I was reaching out to different filmmakers that I admired in my area. This is before I moved back to New York, and I would just volunteer to help wherever I could. If it was with casting, if they needed help with assisting, with setting up, set decor, anything. And then when I moved back to New York, I found some filmmakers that I wanted to reach out to, and I reached out. and I took them for coffee and I said, what is it that you're doing? How can I help contribute? And that
Hmm.
was a really great way to network. And I ended up building a team from there because I worked on their film. They then wanted to help me work on my films. I also joined a few organizations, the Black TV and Film Collective, New York Women in Film and Television. That was right after a certain president was elected. So I needed to be surrounded by people like me who I felt would support me. Um,
Yep.
and yeah, I think you have to be open to when you want to learn how to make films, you either need to go to film school or reach out to that community and see who around you is doing what, because there's always somebody that is willing to let you come in and help and learn in that form. But you have to be willing to do it too. I think some people are like, oh, well, I'm not going to go spend a day with anyone if I'm not getting paid to do it. But that's how we have to start out sometimes.
Right. It's not the right mentality
Mm-hmm.
to say like I need to get paid. And I mean, the reality of the situation is that so many people are struggling and they do need to get
Yes.
paid. But I really love this approach of, how can I help? How can I be of assistance? I'm interested in you and what you're doing. And I think that ultimately that's what everybody really wants, right? They want somebody who is interested in them and what they're doing, and then when you deliver and you do things the right great way, you do create this reciprocal type of relationship and people do want to help. And I mean, at least that's how I approach my life. I fundamentally believe that people underneath it all are good. Some, maybe they're not. Oh, I
Yeah.
think we've seen some that aren't.
No, they're not all good people, but that's actually, it's a really great way to put your feelers out there and see what personalities you mesh well with, who you would actually want to spend all of those hours on a set with, and then you grow with them and their projects. And some people have, obviously, they're going to pay you to come in, but some people, we're trying to make a film and we want to get this message out. Are you here? Can you do it? Can you spend 4 hours? It's really up to you and how much time you can commit. And every project is looking for something different. So there's definitely ways to get paid doing it as well.
I love that advice. I just think it's so good, especially for people. And I don't think that it matters what age you are. I
Not
think
at
what
all.
matters is the passion that you
Yep.
have. Yeah, I love that. I mean, one day I will make some type of a film. I've had this, and I'm going to put it out there, but I've had this idea for a really long time, to just be able to film different people around the world that are not what someone would immediately think of as a leader. So something, this is what leadership looks like. And to really be able to profile a wide variety mosaic of people and situations and say, you know what, you think leadership is that? It's
Oh, I
this.
love it.
Yeah. Oh, I know it's good, but
I
it's
happen
like
to
putting
have
it all
a
together.
team of filmmakers.
Who might be interested in that
Hmm.
one day, one day.
Hmm.
But yeah, maybe like, when everybody can travel
Yeah.
again and everything. But this is what we need. We need to get out of these patterns of thinking and to just keep, putting the same type of person in power or in these executive positions that make the decisions, because that's why change can't happen, because it's like, how can you penetrate that? I don't know what the word is, like the force field
Hmm.
that other people create, that just, it takes so much to chip away at that. It's disheartening at
It
times.
definitely
Um,
is. But I think there's power in coming together and making some noise. There are times when I'm out here just kind of ringing the bell. And I
yeah.
will continue to ring the bell because I'm like, if this is going to help other people, I will continue to do it because that is what brings me the most joy. I love to see women go after their dreams. I mean, especially moms. It's a really
Yeah,
beautiful thing. So however I can support, that's really what I work on doing.
I love that. So the festival is actually in August, right,
Yes.
of this year?
Yes.
Awesome. And how can people purchase tickets? Because I want to do a party where it's over is it over multiple days or
It is. The festival itself
okay.
will happen August 20th through the 23rd.
Okay.
This year, we're going to incorporate some live events where we can screen certain films together. It'll most likely be films that have some sort of social issue message to it. And we're going to call those live screenings Sip and Seas. You know, when a woman has a
Mm.
baby, we invite you over for wine and we show you the kid. That's why we're calling it that. We're also going to do some panels about motherhood issues and challenges that we're facing. We have been working with some advocacy groups here in New York. We'll be sending some messages about that soon. But in doing this work, I've discovered that there is some advocacy that we can get involved with in campaigns that we can support that will help us all, not only in film, but moms in every industry and parents in every industry, really. So, yeah, we're excited for that. But this year, we also incorporated what we want to do is get funding from sponsors who will help provide monetary awards to our winning filmmakers for their next films because as women in general, but moms especially, there are longer gaps between our projects. So
Yep.
that would be a really great way to help. And to provide childcare stipends for moms in need, and also a shadowing program for moms who've had to take years off to raise their families. This will help them transition back into the labor force. And we're also looking to partner with brands who will utilize our filmmakers to create their spots and commercials because there's money in commercials and our filmmakers can really benefit from that. So it'll be a win for everyone. There are so many brands that target and market to moms, and I think it's really powerful and time for them to have the moms actually creating the visuals for them as well.
I think that this is outstanding.
Thank you.
Yes, I love those awards. And I agree with you. I mean, why shouldn't moms be actually creating the ads for the
Right.
products that they're buying themselves? I
Hello.
mean, you can't, yeah.
You have so many brands that are marketing to moms. There are car companies. There are diapers and Pampers and, everything you can think of. And I always look at these ads and I think, how many moms did you have on that? Was the DP
Right.
a mother? Was the gaffer a mother? So I have a whole list of people that we're reaching out to. And I'm also applying for grants and
Yeah.
because I think it's a really important initiative. And there are a lot of women-led and women-focused organizations, but the conversation of motherhood has not started there yet. And that is a disservice to women in general because we want to show this is possible. You can do this. There are going to be programs for you. So there's a lot of work to do, but it's worthy work and I'm excited.
Well, if there is anything that She Leads Media can do to help support you and your mission, or to bring in anybody that could be a resource for you, I offer that up. I would love to just be involved in general, and to help and support in any way I can, because I think that this is such a worthy mission.
Yes, thank
And the
you.
other thing, I love it. I love it so much. And then one day you and I will make a film.
Yes.
But the other thing is your organization, it's a nonprofit organization, so people can donate directly,
We
correct?
are applying to become a nonprofit. We are
Okay.
fiscally sponsored right now. So anything that they contribute is tax deductible. Woohoo!
Okay.
But yeah,
Yay.
by the time the festival is live, we will be a nonprofit. So we're in the process of becoming our own, but thankfully we do have the Center for Active Learning that is our fiscal sponsor right now.
Yeah, I don't really know much about that, so that is super
Yeah, it's
interesting.
just for tax
Yeah.
purposes. If people give you a donation, they can get the tax deductible benefit from it. I won't say that's just it, but that's like the main premise with
Yeah.
nonprofit for profit.
That is very cool. So, Tonya, I cannot wait to just see everything that comes out of the Mom Film Festival this year, the films, but then all the other work that you're doing. I'm so excited that you and I are in, company with each other and community with each
Yes.
other. And I mean, I'm just going to tell everybody about this. So,
Oh, I love that. Adrienne, you're great.
yeah. Oh, no, I'm so excited. I'm so happy that we connected. And, just from the first, I think, exchange of messages, I just felt such a positive and warm energy from you. And I can't wait to see the incredible success that I know is in front of you.
Thank you. That means so much.
It's awesome. And if people want to, connect with you directly or, learn more, please let my humongous audience of listeners who they might not, we might not have a huge audience, but our audience is very loyal and dedicated and especially concerned with just leadership and getting women's thoughts, voices, and opinions out into the world. So please let our audience know where they can get in touch with you and learn more.
Oh, I love that. I welcome the community. We are also small but mighty and growing. So I'm sure that it's the same case with your community, Adrienne. And once we join forces, that's double the amount.
Yep.
They can find us. The website is momfilmfest.com, MOM Film Fest. We're also on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook, Mom Film Fest. And then I am Tonya McCornell on Instagram. I'm not as active on Twitter, but you can find me there.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much. This has been an incredible pleasure to speak with you today. And like I said, I cannot wait to see everything wonderful that comes from the work that you're doing.
Thank you. I'm excited to join forces.
Yay. Okay, Tonya, take care.
You too, Adrienne. Thank you.